Welcome to September's Q&A. Me and Ruby Reggie, you might be able to or not be able to see, is just sitting here, so I apologise if she barks, she probably will. Okay, let's get right into it. At Nagris_Ali0807 asked, they'd like to know about foods to avoid if you have psoriasis, please. Okay, psoriasis is an inflammatory condition and it's usually exacerbated by stress. So sometimes it's worth finding out what's causing that stress, whether it comes up when it's work or whether it's emotional issues, fatigue, if you're not getting enough sleep. See if that makes a difference. So things like yoga meditation would help the body cope with that. Food-wise, you need to eat an anti-inflammatory diet and you have to be quite diligent about it. You can't go out on the razzle on Friday night and eat burgers on Saturday and then, on bacon and stuff, and then sort of try and be good for the rest. You have to be quite on it. So that means that you need to eat something that is high in good fats, really important. High in good fats, nuts, seeds, avocado, fish. You need to eat fresh, whole foods, whole grains, low in sugar, fizzy drinks out. Alcohol low, red wine, try and just be moderate about it. Coffee is quite inflammatory in this situation. So try and work with that and see how you get on, because it can be quite tricky, psoriasis. Sometimes getting out in the sun helps it too, so just be aware if vitamin D is helping or not. Okay, at Cario Kakaz, I hope I said that right. Hello, I have Hashimoto's and have recently decided to cut out all dairy and gluten from my diet. I'm also vegetarian, so I'm finding it a bit difficult. Do you have any advice on this lifestyle change? I have ordered the DIM supplements as per your last post. Thanks. Hi there. I'd love to know why you've cut out dairy and gluten from your diet. Is that because it didn't work with you very well? If it doesn't, lots of people do fare better without, to be honest. And I'm not so keen on dairy. Sometimes it's nice to have a bit of cheese. Because of your Hashimoto's, I would look at things that have selenium in them. So things like, Brazil nuts are the go-to. Make sure that with your vegetables you are steaming them to take out the goitrogens, which won't help your situation. So just make sure that things like cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, steam them. Just lightly, that's all you need to do. But they're also really good, for yourself. Fresh vegetables and would be really helpful. Make sure you're getting enough fibre. Again, vegetables and fruit. What other things would be really good? Selenium, as I said. You want to sort of be a bit careful about things like water bottles, plastic bottles and stuff like that, like xenoestrogens. And also, I know what you should be eating. You should, something like samphire and seaweed would be really nice to get a little bit of iodine in. You don't need much, just a little bit. So that would be great as a vegetarian. I don't know if you eat tofu and soy, but you need to be a bit wary about soy because of your Hashimoto's. So if you are going to eat soy, make sure that it is really high quality, organic and fermented. I cannot emphasize that enough. Fermented soy is great. Unfermented soy, soy cheese, soy dairy, not so great. So things like tempeh, miso, fermented tofu, if you can find it, are all brilliant ones to have. And they will be great for you as a vegetarian because they'll be great. And lentils and pulses. Pulses and beans, my favourite. They are great for you too. High in fibre, really good for blood sugar balancing. Eat them. I hope that helps. At Karen.Gaskell.264. Hi Rose, I struggle daily with bloating and my stomach feeling tender and uncomfortable. It's fine in the morning, but late afternoon and evening it is at its worst. Can you recommend anything that would help? Right, this is tricky because bloating can be so many different things. The first thing I think, if it's in the afternoon it gets worse, are you at a sedentary job? Because are you just sitting at a table, at your desk all day long and not moving, not getting your lymph going, not getting the blood moving? That's one thing, but without knowing more, it's hard to say. The other thing is, have you noticed if there's a particular food that's causing your bloating? It sounds like there's definitely some dysbiosis going on in your gut, but it's finding out why. That's the key, and there are so many different options, it's hard to sort of give you this is what's going to help. So you need to be really mindful about your eat. Make sure you chew your food. That's number one with bloating. Sit and chew your food. Take time. Rest and digest. Perhaps do a probiotic course every 6 months, but I'd really think about try and really be mindful about what's causing the bloating. Things like ginger tea will be helpful, mint tea will be helpful. You might have a SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is causing it, but you won't know that unless you get tested for it. And just, so just, I think being mindful and trying to see if it, because it might just be that you're not chewing your food and you're not moving around enough in the day. So that's easy to fix. Otherwise, try and perhaps go and see someone like me or come and see me, but, perhaps get some more advice on that. At Malina Martina, when is the best time to drink green smoothies, fresh fruit, vegetable juices? I have a problem with heartburn, acid reflux after I drink fresh squeezed vegetable juices first thing in the morning for half a year. Doctor advised me to stop and it was much better, but I would still like to drink them, and after lunch it causes me bloating. I would say that if something is having that reaction, I would agree with your doctor. It's not great if you've got acid reflux from it. What it does mean and means to me is that the stomach acid is way too low. Not high, actually. People always think it's high, because what's happening, fruit also digests much further down the gut, and if it's sitting in your gut undealt with, then it ferments, and then when it ferments, that's what causes the acid reflux, because it's just sitting there creating gas and air and not being broken down and used as it should be. So I would definitely start with apple cider vinegar. Start a day with apple cider vinegar or lemon and water, and I would have that 20 minutes before you eat every meal and see if that helps. If it's only these things that cause that problem, then I would, if nothing else causes that problem, I would be curious to know what exactly you're putting into your vegetable juice. I wonder if it's one single vegetable that's creating the problem. But I feel like it's your acid, the fire in your belly is not enough to digest these things, because they are fibrous. Smoothies are quite fibrous, but still, having said that, and they're full of, and the fibre that they have is fructooligosaccharides, so they are the bacteria love them and they're going to go crazy causing bloating. But really you want them in your diet. They're really good to have in your diet. So try apple cider vinegar before, see how you get on. Don't drink too much of a smoothie. You could move on to digestive enzymes and HCl maybe. But I would start with just apple cider vinegar and like I say, hot lemon. At Lily Villiers, hi Rose, I need to find a great recipe and information book for good anti-inflammatory diet to follow. Do you have any recommendations? Medicinal Chef Dale Pinnock, he's got some brilliant books. He's got a variety, some of specific, some sort of element specific, and then he's got his general one, and I think they're really brilliant books. There's also actually a book by Christine Bailey, who is a nutritionist, and she does some really nice books too. At Coconut Head 2009, fasting and SIBO. Fasting, well, I think they're two separate things. First of all, you want to deal with your SIBO. So you don't really want to be managing it. You need to deal with it and get to the bottom of it and get it better. You need to get the colony under control. So I would say, the thing that's great about fasting is that it is really good for your gut to rest. So therefore giving your gut more time to recover and more time to sort itself out. But you need to be working with both in tandem. You need to eat fasting great. It depends how you're fasting too, but hopefully great, if you're doing like 16-8 or a daily, a day a week or whatever fasting you're doing. If it's a healthy, balanced, intermittent fast, fantastic. But you need to deal with the SIBO as well, which would be antibacterials, probiotics, making sure that you are getting that overgrowth under control. So fasting is not going to fix it. It will help, but it's not going to fix it. At G Baza, love to know about nutrition for menopause and weight loss. I am in mid-40s and suffer from weight gain and side effects due to hysterectomy. Thank you. Okay, so there's a lot of, there's lots of us. I'm in my 40s too. The things that I feel very strongly about when you're past your 40s, perimenopausal, menopausal or not, is that your insulin response is dulled. Very much dulled. So you are what's known as insulin insensitive. You're insulin resistant. Your body is not listening to the insulin. So you're eating sugar, carbohydrate, anything like that, and it will create an insulin spike or response. Actually, it doesn't have to be a spike. If you continue to snack all day long, which a lot of us do, your insulin is always up, and therefore your body is, and it doesn't really do what it's meant to do. So it stores the sugar. So no snacking is one really big thing. I cannot tell you enough. Eat, break, lunch, break, eat. And if you are going to snack, make sure it is something like a boiled egg or something really low in GI. So a boiled egg would be great. Nuts. I mean, I know everyone goes, they've got loads of fat in them. And they do have some carbohydrate, but the fat doesn't create such a insulin. You don't need insulin to digest fats, basically. So that is what I would say. The other thing I would say is sugar. You need to be eating a high good fat, low carb diet will help you with the weight loss. At Flora writing, love your feed, about to have baby number 3, woohoo, and could do with some nutritional advice to help me recover from an elective cesarean. It won't be breastfed. Feel so tired and huge right now. Oh, now that recovering my old energy levels and mojo seem impossible. You will recover. It's just if you're right in the home straight, you will recover. Take your time after you've had your cesarean to, really heal properly. Don't rush back to things. Really take your time to do that. I can't emphasize that enough. So things like arnica, everybody knows, but they are actually fantastic. They're a brilliant. Arnica is a fantastic healer for trauma, for shock. And then I would take your time, and I wouldn't be too stressed about what you eat. Don't give yourself a hard time. I would make sure you're trying to eat as much high nutrition as you can. So when you do eat, try to make it count, anti-inflammatory foods as well. So, everything we always talk about, which is high vegetable, lots of veg, lots of fruit, whole grains. Make sure you're getting whole grains, and make sure you're getting lots of lovely protein, because your body's going to be rebuilding. And after you have any weight, which way you have a baby, it's hardcore on the body, and so you need to get those proteins back. Make sure you're getting as much nutrients back as you can. Your energies will come back. Perhaps if you're not breastfeeding, perhaps start thinking about taking a nice adrenal, vitamin B, and a really nice female. Wild Nutrition do a really nice female multi that you could take. And I would also make sure you take a really good probiotic, Simprove. A 12-week course of Simprove will help you get back in things, but just give yourself time. That's all I can suggest. Really, really don't rush. At Anna Marie NW, hi Rose, what are the best foods, tonics and supplements for depression? Thank you. Okay, well, there is something called tryptophan in avocados. It's always in avocados. Avocados, turkey, almonds all have tryptophan, and tryptophan is the precursor, it's the thing that you need to make serotonin. So those are really good foods to include. 5-HTP is the supplement that you can take to do the same thing, that you do. If you're depression, there's a lot of lifestyle things, making sure you get outside, go for a little walk, which all seem very difficult when you're depressed. It sounds really easy when you're not, but when you are depressed, getting up and getting out sounds, can be one of the hardest things to do. So that's really good, a really crucial thing to try and achieve. Drinking water is really crucial. And I know it sounds really stupid, but it really does help. It helps the nerves firing, so it will help your mood. Making food feeding yourself is really, really important. And that's another thing, in the same way that going out becomes so difficult, you can't do it. So does feeding yourself good food. And that's you really need to for mood. So things like berries are really good. They're easy, they're there, you can snack on those. Chick_monk. When cutting out processed sugar, are there any drink options you can recommend? I love water and I drink it about 90% of the time, but sometimes I just want a little flavour. Oh, it's so easy to make water taste, give it a bit of vavavum. Shaving some celery into the water. Or I had one yesterday which was orange and cucumber. You could put celery. But I was thinking cucumber and orange yesterday was really nice. You can put strawberries in, you can put mint. Herbs are really good, so rosemary. Actually there's the company Rosemary Water who do really lovely rosemary water, very, very well infused. But you can make it at home by putting a sprig of rosemary, sprig of basil, sprig of mint. You can make all sorts of flavours and it really does taste nice. Also, if you get a good sparkling water like Pellegrino that is fizzy at source, then that can jazz it up a little bit. Or if you want to sort of a more... I really like Angostura bitters, which are what you would find in a cocktail, but if you put them in fizzy water, it sort of feels a bit more special. H. May Brown, any tips on IF? I wasn't sure. I read this and I'm still not sure what IF is. Intravenous, So if you could come back to me with what you mean by IF, that would be great. Sorry, I'm probably missing something really obvious, but Wendy Rowe, you're lovely too. At Flem and Marie. Hi Rose, my 4-year-old daughter, who is very healthy, refuses dairy and most veg. She loves meat. How can I make sure she gets enough calcium, and is there anything I need to top her up with? Well, Brazil nuts have lots of almonds. Sesame has lots of calcium in it, so you can use those. They are tricky, children. Try hiding it and stuff. Blending and putting it in the tomato sauce seems to work quite a lot. Also, kids seem to like crisp stuff, so you can crisp kale. They seem to like that. You can crisp it, put some garlic and some soy, and that seems to go down quite well. You could probably do the same with broccoli or Oh, you know what else is a really good one? Is to do broccoli cauliflower cheese. You know what I mean? Broccoli cheese, because broccoli's got loads of calcium in it. And then if you don't want to use dairy, you can use the cashew cheese, and it would be really nice. Kids, I don't think you should stress too much. Kids do the best you can, but obviously, you don't also want to create bad relationships with food. I'm very keen for people to create good relationships with food. They go on to be better eaters, I find. At Sue Thomas 54, can't lose weight seriously. Sorry, I should redo that. Can't lose weight seriously. After a summer of water, jogging, etc., and the last few weeks of counting calories, nothing happened. Any ideas? Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, there's obviously a blockage somewhere, so I would suggest you need to find out what that blockage is, which is quite difficult to do like this. Also, can I just say that water, it depends what you're eating as well. What are you eating? Perhaps you need to, it's really hard without knowing what you're eating actually to answer that. But the high fat, low carb, no snacking rule could help you here. So let me know, come back to me if, perhaps it would be good to see you about that. At Cheryl Miller, hey, I hope your marathon training is going well. Will you be giving any nutritional tips for runners? What do you eat before and after a run, etc.? Marathon training is going. I'm not sure how well, but it's going. Yes, I will. I have done. I've got lots of stuff that I've written about marathons and a podcast I did with Deliciously Ella. So we can put that. I will put that. I should do it soon, actually. And what do I eat before and after a run? So I'm really bad at waking up before I run to eat. But I will. On the day of the marathon, I will eat some porridge. And I will eat before my 20-mile runs. I'm going to eat some porridge because you need to have some fuel. I fuel through the run. I don't like gels. I find them very, very, I don't like them at all, actually. They are fantastic, but I crash after, and I don't want to feel like that at the end of the run. If you've just run a marathon, you want to feel like pretty thrilled with yourself. And they make me personally literally exhausted. I felt absolutely exhausted. So I don't train with them anymore. What I train with is flapjack, nuts and seeds. And I actually do use sports beans, which are like little jelly beans, partly for the flavour, partly because they've got a little bit of sugar, so that's what I train with. My flapjack ends up all over my little pouch thing, but that's what I do to keep me going. So I use quite a lot of oats and nuts. Also, I tried, almond butter sachets is really good, but you definitely need to get your fueling right, because if you don't get your fueling right, I've seen so many people come a cropper because they didn't have enough food. You need to make sure you get up. So I don't like getting up, but I make sure I get up and I have a bowl of porridge. And even if you get up and you go back to bed, whatever, but make sure 3 hours before you do any of those long runs, 2 to 3 hours before you have some of that. Then after the marathon, make sure you start refueling your body very gently, but make sure you start getting that back in. Your body has done a lot, and it will need a lot of love and attention after, and some anti-inflammatory action too, because those joints will be quite stressed. Evian. Hi, I'd like to know about new findings about flax seeds. Recently read about it being possibly dangerous to consume with terrible side effects. Also, does celery juice really work for all the things they claim, or is it just hype? So I haven't heard anything about flax seeds. I will go away and have a look, but as far as I know, flax seeds they are phytoestrogens. So I don't know why they would be dangerous to consume, but that's not to say there's not new evidence or research out there. So I will go and have a research about that. So thank you for flagging that. It'd be interesting to see what's out there. Does celery juice really work? Celery juice, I get asked this a lot because obviously everyone's on celery juice. I do drink celery juice too sometimes. It's really hydrating. It's a great way to start your day. It's full of silica, which is great for your hair and nails. It's really hydrating. It's got loads, celery salt doesn't come from nowhere, it comes from celery. So it's brilliant for those like electrolytes. It's got that, it's actually great if you have a salty palate. If that's what you want, then it's fantastically satisfying for that. It's a brilliant way to start your day. Having said that, I also think that having any vegetable juice is a great way to start your day. It's a great addition to your diet or smoothie. So eating celery is a great thing to do. So I just think it should be part of a balanced diet. And as I always say, I don't think any one particular thing is going to, I think the combination of all the nutrients you get from all the fruit and veg are what work together and make it work well. Elaine agreed. Rosemary, I get headaches or every so often think it's from my tummy, maybe something I've eaten. Is it always, if you notice that it's always the same thing you've eaten, because that might possibly, it's often chocolate. Chocolate is often a cause of headaches, I'm afraid to say. Or is it when you've been out on the razzle? Might be alcohol. I mean, you need to find out. Coffee is another one that's often causes it. Headaches are very difficult. They're not very difficult. It depends if it's hormonal. If you're saying you think it's something you eat, then pay attention to, I know it's really hard, but see if you can remember what you've eaten in the last 24 hours and see if that's what it is. Because that would be an easy thing to eliminate. Otherwise, you could do something like an intolerance test to see. But I think that's kind of down to your own mindfulness. See how you get on with that. Mrs. Jenny Robson, I'd love a detox weight loss plan, please. I'm vegetarian, menopausal, sweating machine at the moment. Thank you. I obviously can't give you a whole plan without seeing you and stuff, because the thing about nutrition is everybody is so individual. So, a plan would be tailored to you, and that would require a proper consultation situation. Having said that, if you're vegetarian, menopausal, sweating machine, try some sage tea for the sweating machine part of it, see if that helps, or just some sage from your garden is fantastic. No snacking, high good fats, low sugar diet is very helpful for people for ladies with perimenopause or over 40s. At Baz and Lokes, thank you for this opportunity. I love your feed so much. What are some good foods to help prevent cancer? Well, that's a very general question. I mean, good foods for good health are what is preventing cancer. Good health. So it would be things like all greens, green vegetables, green leafies are brilliant. They're thought to be very anti-carcinogenic. Things that you want to avoid are processed anything, especially processed meats. They're thought to be very anti-carcinogenic. You want to eat fresh, uncontaminated, unchemical interfered with foods, so that makes it not rocket science. That makes it really simple. You can eat lots of veg, lots of grains, lots of pulses. Try to eat organic where you can. If you can't eat organic, make sure you wash it. If you're going to eat meat, make sure it is grass-fed, organic, free range. So you've got a lot of things to tick there. You want to make sure that you eat the best quality meat you can, so eat less of it but higher quality. Make sure you drink lots of water. It really is those sort of things. You want to make sure you're getting lots of antioxidants in. And good fats too. Good fats are really useful. Lil Beans and me. What is your go-to energy boost for the slump in the day that really works? In brackets, at Rosie Ferguson. And how easy did you find increasing distance for your marathon training? What is my go-to? Well, at the moment, my energy boost is what is it? It's called a bullet. I have a bullet cacao drink from Ancient and Brave is what I'm having at the moment. Or a sort of a nut buttery type smoothie I would have. Or a matcha. I love my matcha actually. And yesterday I had a turmeric latte, which is really nice. I kind of love making those sort of drinks. They just psychologically make me feel boosted, and physically they do too. But psychologically I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm not a coffee drinker, so that's my thing. If I'm hungry in the middle of the day, I would definitely have a nut buttery apple, like nut butter and apple dip. That's what I would have. When I eat chocolate, it's because I want chocolate. It's not because I don't ever really get that sugar slump of I need sugar. I don't get that. I just want it. When I have that slump in the afternoon, I actually would prefer something like an apple with nut butter. At Juffy 2, you want to ask about the increasing distance for the marathon. I just take my time. I started training in July. You know, last time I did it, I give myself 3 months. I've been doing sort of 2 miles every other week, so a mile a week, but I've been doing like an 18 mile or 10. Next week is 20 miles, then I'll do 10, then I'll do another, you know, so I think, you know, the thought of it is impossible. Once you start getting the miles in, you're suddenly like, oh, I'm running 10 miles and I can do it, you know, so just make sure you give yourself enough time from whatever your whatever your baseline is, and then, you know, you do suddenly go, oh my God, I can run 18 miles and I'm okay, and it feels great. At Jeffy 2, dear Rosemary, everyone says eat fruits and vegetables to lose weight. That's what I do 90% of the week, and I haven't managed to lose much, and I'm wondering why. Also exercise 5 times a week with a personal trainer. I only have 5 kilos to lose. It's driving me crazy. Okay, without seeing you and seeing what your body's like, I have a few people that over the years I have seen, and we always it's not that I call it actually. It's called skinny fat. So it's when you train as much as you train, you exercise a lot, but you're not putting the right fuel in. So if you're eating veg and fruit, that's great, fantastic. But if that's all you're eating and you're training all the time, your body is working, like it's like a balance. So your body is working this much and you're putting in this much fuel. So it's how are you fueling your body? You're not fueling the body to do what it has to do. You're asking it to do this, but you're not giving it the right fuel to do it. So what it does is it does not have even a chance to build muscle. It just stores it doesn't store everything. It will use everything, but it's ripping you don't, because you haven't got enough fuel going in, it doesn't make what you need it to make. So therefore it holds on to everything is what I'm trying to say. It does store it, but it's more than storing it. It's getting so little fuel to do so much that your body is going, I need everything. I need to hold on to everything, because if I don't hold on to everything, I don't have enough to do what you're asking me to do. So rather than using it and being like, yeah, I'm going to make muscle over here, I'm going to restore this over here, it won't do that. Your body's not working efficiently because you're not eating, by the sounds of it, you're not eating enough. You need to make sure if you're going to ask your body to be busy and go to the gym, you need to make sure you're getting some complex carbs. Do it in the morning. That's all. You need a little bit of complex carb in the morning. Then make sure you have enough protein. You have good protein at lunch, good protein at dinner. And, snack on nuts and seeds. Eating too little is sometimes, it sounds like, to me, from what you've said here, it sounds like that is the flaw in your plan. At Amy Lewis, do you ever use anything not natural on your skin? I am in my 40s and have aging skin and feel that organic products don't quite cut it. Actually, that's a really good question, because I know I talk a lot about, all that. I do love, I try to stick to the most natural I can. So the Orvedas and the Romilly Wilds, and and they are really beautiful skin products, and but I also do use others. I do use other products because I'm in my 40s too. So I've used creme de la mer for as long as I can remember. So I use that when it's particularly dry or I feel like it needs a boost. I use that. What other things do I have? I'm using Augustinus Bader. Bader, I have that too, and I use all these things. So whenever I'm getting ready, I'm sort of like, it depends how I feel that day, and depends how my skin is that day. It depends on the time of the month. All those things affect my skin. And then I also, I work with Teresa Tame, who has a really amazing serum, and she and I work together because I believe in healing skin. We both believe, that's why we work together, in healing skin from the inside out. So Teresa does phenomenal facials, which deal with from making you shine and glow and look amazing to really problematic skin. So she has a huge range of treatments that she does, and I help support from the inside. So so I understand that in this day and age there are so many different needs and so many different desires for skin that there's a whole range of stuff out there to use. I just feel very strongly that you should